There are a lot of mechanics regarding the revolution. Revolutionary zeal instead of absolutism for one. You get cool units, cool CBs, and the realization that the game itself is about to end, so you better act now. The issue is, however, you need to be in the 1700s to get there, at which point not only is most of the game already over, it takes forever to get there yourself, and hence, here I come in. I've created a France with basically modern borders that is revolutionary and ready to go into Europe. In this video, hence, I plan to give a bit of a national review of what I've created for you, while also going over some campaign ideas, challenges, and naturally talking about how to install and play the save yourself. With that said, before we get into the game, as usual, let's get some quick things out of the way. A like would be appreciated if you haven't already, and a subscription would be amazing. We got to 25k, that was incredible, now let's hope for many more. Now enough self-shitting, let's get into France itself. So here we are, I have paused on the 26th of November. I was actually going for a November reference to a different revolution in question for the pausing, but that happened on the 7th of November and was called the October Revolution. So you know what, if they get the months wrong, I'm allowed to get the date wrong. So the pause is on the 26th of November, done in 1720. This gives you just over 100 years to act out your desires, until the game physically ends. As you can see as well from the flag and everything, I have prepared it for you nice and revolutionary, with Consul Napoleon I ready to take the throne. Revolutionary mantle. And so here we are, welcome to France, Modern Borders Edition. This nation has been, well, prepared for your enjoyment for quite a while. Let's zoom out a little bit so you can see the full scale of it and a bit of a spoilers of what you'll be dealing with later. Yeah, so first things first, let's just do a little bit of a national review. You're French. 100% French. Every single province here has been culture converted into Francian for your enjoyment. You're a fully united society. The reason for this as well is I gained a dev cost in primary culture from a build that I've abandoned and picked up a different one for you, so this was part of optimizing around that. Basically getting enough dev cost. Why? How much have I devved this absolute beast? Well, let's go over to development map mode. It's pretty green. Looks yellow on here. All of these are 35 development. They were actually devved to 30. However, all of these states are 5x centralized. As you can see, I can't centralize any of these states. All of France has been centralized. And as part of centralization, one of the bonuses that France gets is you gain one random development in each province of the state that you centralize, meaning that I was able to get an extra 5 development in every single province after deving it to 30. The exceptions are naturally things like Catalonia, which is not something I don't own the full state of, so it's been left at 30, as well as Corsica, which is also a 30 development province, as it is not part of the full state, meaning it was unable to be centralized, and hence is contributing towards in terms of its governing capacity. Most of this land is prospering. There have been some events that decrease prosperity during the revolution itself. As you can also see, our sailor pool has been reduced due to events in the revolution. We are not going to be talking about those. I guess also leaving the fleet out of port didn't help, but then we needed that to blockade a couple revolutionary holdouts that were counter-revolutionaries that had to be slaughtered. So basically the sailors are a bit less built up. But on that note, we do have a modern navy. Although I must warn you, I did, before the revolution kick off, walk around Europe and fight people like Spain, England, and more specifically Scandinavia, as well as Bohemia, and destroy their navy, meaning that hopefully they rebuilt their navy, meaning it should be modern ships, so you should actually have some naval contest on the seas. It shouldn't just be a free win. That's something I did for you as a bit of an extra setup, but we'll talk about those things in terms of the other nation in a bit. But yes, every single province has been devved to 35 with all the key buildings built. Every single province has access to max counting houses, max cathedrals for the dev cost, and also just in general. Everything has been town halled, everything has been universitied, everything has been regimental centered. There are some provinces that do not have training camps. Those are your forts, and Toulouse, which had a very fancy dockyard, so I kind of left that. So 4 provinces don't have training fields, everything else does. All the forts are updated to modern specifications, and the centers of trade stock exchanges are built on everything that needs a stock exchange. Regarding centers of trade, we upgraded to level 3 on inland centers, as level 3 inland centers provide also local manpower of 33% to the state, so you're able to get more manpower. That's good. So for example, Rhymes, I believe, is also, no, that one's a level 2. So yeah, this one's a level 3. The 3 merchants are being used towards maximizing your inland manpower as well as trying to maintain at least some stranglehold of Champagne. Easier said than done, very easy note to steal from if you don't expand outside of natural French borders. But that's about that. I've also tried to set up the world to give you a bit more of a challenge. We'll get to all of the setup later in terms of the challenges, but that does mean that a lot of my fighting was almost very AI-esque. For example, I allied Switzerland and just gave them the provinces they needed to actually form Switzerland, for example. I then also fought a bunch of Catholics to let the Protestants and Anglican and all that thing spread, but kept France Catholic itself. However, as part of that, I did then also go ahead and get Catholic supremacy, giving you war score cost versus other religions, which I'm sure you would appreciate. But basically, a lot of setup was done here to maximize your enjoyability and strength of this nation. Furthermore, I did build some musketeers. If you look at our force limit, there are around 60 out of the 182 possible musketeer infantry. And yeah, I've also added quite a few Revolutionary Guard regiments you can field, and this is actually with elite Revolutionary Guard training as well. So this number's reduced by a further 10%, but these guys are going to be really, really good for you. So yeah, build up your Revolutionary Guard and get ready to smash the enemy. In terms of army composition, you have doubled up reinforcement stacks. Those should be coming around with around 30k at the moment. So I've kind of split them in half. I was drilling them, which is why they were combined. For the front row, back row stacks, this is the time where you want around 40 cannons, and this is why you want to be fighting basically with these two stacks side by side, and when battles come, you combine them to have a full back row with reinforcement stacks ready to reinforce. Your force limit is sitting at a very healthy 611, certainly not anything to scoff at, and your ideal loadout is as follows. We have infrastructure ideas, which combined with offensive gives you a policy for more sieging, as well as siegeability from offensive. Espionage gives you siegeability, administrative gives you co-creation cost, diplomatic gives you province force cost, and quantity gives you more troops. This nation is built for war, and one that is very ready for war. Your siegeability is frankly just ridiculous, sitting at 65, but it gets better. Because of the policy selection taken here, in fact, actually I'm one over policies because I was doing some shenanigans over there just looking at what this will involve. Feel free to drop these, and I guess I didn't have much things to spend my mana on at this point after deving everything. Basically, you're really good at building spy networks. You have a lot of diplomats free to go, and you are ready to build spies. Another thing with merchants is I've taken the policy to get inland routes for whatever you want. So you can get an extra siegeability artillery level available versus fort +1, as well as a +2 artillery level available versus fort from the policy, and another +3 artillery level available versus fort from just Napoleonic Warfare, meaning that you're going to have insane bonuses to sieging, especially given your spy node construction speed as well. If you bother building spy nodes on people you're going to be sieging, you're going to be going through them insanely quickly. So that's the build. I mean, 75% spy node construction from policies, and that doesn't include the 50% from here. It's going to be insane. Anyway, you also run around with 7.6 morale, certainly nothing to be scoffed at, and a okayish enough amount of discipline. I definitely didn't build around discipline. If you want that, feel free to take the Discipline Advisor, which, by the way, I have not popped the Discipline event. Another thing I also haven't done is popped Golden Age. You're ready to go into that. I've also given you every single province in here a seat in Parliament, meaning that you have access to the draft if you ever get low on manpower, although that's going to be quite surprising, because not only is your cap 770,000, you're also recovering almost 11,000 a month from just 68 provinces, because, well, you do have 2,400 development, give or take, within those 68 provinces. If you're worried about governing capacity, don't be. You're sitting at 2,000, you have another 1,000 spare, and if you're that worried about it, well, every single province has had expanded infrastructure once, because it has both a soldier's household as well as a normal manufactory. Not this one, because it had a state house. It usually has a textile and a soldier's manufactory, so we have both money and production manufactories built everywhere. As you can see, noble manus built everywhere, soldiers' households built everywhere apart from the coal mine, and the furnace is built in the correct places. Basically, the nation is built up and ready for you to use. With that said, one of the little mess-ups I did was that to trigger the French Revolution, I need to have 50 loans. So I took 50 loans and waited for it to trigger. That did take a while. Unfortunately, while that was happening, I was paying around 400 ducats a month in interest, meaning that when I went to pay off my debt after the start of the revolution, I still end up having around 11 loans left, so you do have 15k of debt. But it's not like your economy can't handle it. Your biggest expense at the moment is your army maintenance at 177. You're running +5 advisors, and those aren't exactly setting you back too much. I mean, your advisor cost reductions are quite impressive without any of the monuments that would really help with that, so far so good. But anyway, let's take a look at the scenario of the world and what you're facing. Spain managed to form and do their thing. They have a decently sized colonial empire, although do be careful, that's actually Scottish Columbia. So there we go, there's Spain. It's going to present a bit of a challenge for you, and certainly will be at least one enemy for you to crush. Now let's talk about England. Unfortunately, when England did the 100 Years' War with me, they kept landing troops on me and I kept killing them. This led to a situation where I stack wiped their armies and then stack wiped all their mercs, so they were out of troops entirely. So Scotland declared on them, and this is how Scotland owns Yorkshire. Unfortunately, Scotland managed to maintain their independence for, frankly, far too long, as they were able to ally nations such as Spain, Muscovy, and Bohemia and Austria for way too long, meaning that England was never really able to kill them. Meaning that Great Britain has not formed, so good news for you navally, you can at least contest them navally. However, England and Scotland do own some colonial empires. In the case of English Louisiana, as much as the US and so on are fighting them, and so on and so forth. With that, we move on to the Netherlands. That was very much a me creation on the timeline, whereas as if we take a look at it now, when I got the Burgundian inheritance, which I wasn't even aiming for, I was trying to kill Burgundy, I basically annexed all my subjects and then released a Netherlands. If we wait for a bit, I think it doesn't show up here, unfortunately, there we go. Yeah, basically release the Netherlands, it just isn't shown up on here at the moment. So I birthed that thing, and I was very happy with it. Unfortunately, it did right near the end start losing land to Berg. Like, these provinces well lost in a while. And as one of the colonies of the Netherlands was, well, America. So I thought it'd be fun to create the United States of America, so I spotted their independence and carved them out of the Netherlands. The issue is America being America in the peace deal also took provinces like Zeeland. I'm not actually kidding. If we take a look at the province history here, Zeeland was taken over by the United States. Yep. Became a core of the United States, was annexed by the United States. So it was a bit annoying. I had to turn around, beat the US up, make them return their course to the Netherlands, and then turn back around again and re-ally the United States of America. So there we go, our one ally, the United States of America. So far, so good. When it comes to Italy, Tuscany, and Sicily and Venice are doing their thing, they're having fun. The Ottomans got crushed, but it does mean Egypt exists for your campaigning, and the Knights managed to have an incredible game, going from, well, the Knights to waiting for the Ottomans to collapse and building their glorious Crusader state, basically taking over spiritual successor to the Ottomans. Although I would say at this point they are kind of dead, with even Venice, well, getting Constantinople, as cursed as it would be. This is not my doing. What is a bit of my doing is, unfortunately, Austria kept being really annoying, defending the empire and doing things like that, so I ended up having to constantly beat them up. Meaning that Bohemia went from being under their personal union, to breaking free, to beating up Austria, to getting a PU on Poland, to beating up Poland, and so on and so forth. With that said, Muscovy has only just now started to recover and become a big Russia. Novgorod has existed for this entire campaign. The reason for that is, of course, Poland did not take the personal union, so Lithuania and Novgorod allied, and they were massive. In fact, at one point, Novgorod had, they don't have it anymore, but had land up in Scandinavia and in this area entirely. They were only recently kicked out. So, yeah, it's a relatively recent development, this whole Muscovy into Russia thing. But we do have a very strong Scandinavia, and I think Scandinavia, Bohemia, and Muscovy are going to be your big enemies, especially with just how dominant Bohemia has been in the Holy Roman Empire. See, they do have access to the historical center of Prague, which has been giving them monthly imperial authority. Imperial authority they've used to not only pass enough reforms to get the perpetual diet, they've also gone into level 4 of decentralization, meaning they're very close to the final level of Reichskrieg, and in here you will have a united Germany for you to fight. This is going to be certainly one of the bigger challenges for you in this campaign. Forget the Ottoman final boss, Bohemia was the real challenger here. And again, Muscovy and Scandinavia should still be interesting campaigns. In terms of missions, we've still got the vanilla normal France missions, done the usual things there. I have gone for the burn the empire to the ground pass, and that's something for you to pursue, go for it. London is certainly still calling if you're ready to go for it as well. And yes, in terms of these missions, you're still going to be waiting on embracing combatism if you want to build 100 lightships. I just refuse to do that conceptually, as well as then getting your fires of industry going. Good luck with that. There's your, revolutionary France shenanigans to invade Italy, cross the Rhine, and go do the Peninsular War, all of those things. Go enjoy that. Again, all of you built up for your enjoyment to go and crush the entire world around you. Even nations like Bohemia with their emperorship aren't nowhere near strong enough compared to you. You're an absolute monster, and you're nowhere near full summit as well. You have very low army tradition, because obviously I haven't been fighting since forever. But hey, you're revolutionary France, you'll get good generals. I also do give you access to the imperial nobility and the clergy estates. If you want to mess around with those, you can. Otherwise, your government reforms have been done. You're ready to expand administration if you want a bit more GovCap, but I haven't bothered to press that for you. That's all up to you. And I've left you with GovCap in case you really want to change any of these picks. I've kind of went for the whole imperialism LARP, so there's more province fiscal cost reductions for you and just general more blobbing things. And I did manage to restore the clergy, because after all this entire campaign, I was kind of allied with the Pope for most of it. I think I dropped them last second because someone beat up the Pope and made me annul with them. So yeah, I've been good relations with the Pope ever after I liberated Avignon back. Had to give that one to Provence and then annex them. But I digress. That's been that campaign. So yeah, here is revolutionary France. It's been built up for you. It's ready for you to enjoy the late game. Although one thing I will have to warn you with that, though, the AI's been building up as well. If you take a look at the development map mode, Germany is very similar to France. The development here is also really, really healthy, as you will also find that in northern Italy and England too. Basically, Europe is as built up as you are, if not more, because again, they have infinite dev clicks, I do not. So yeah, be ready to encounter resistance. You have the tools to crush them. You have the armies of the revolution ready to march, although some of you may notice we have legitimacy, and that is because we are, of course, a revolutionary empire with our great Emperor Napoleon on the throne. Although he is quite old, unfortunately, at this point. It's a bit unfortunate, but, you know, that's just kind of how it rolled. Sorry. So, yeah, the challenge is ahead of you. The campaign is there. Let's talk about some goals. For the bronze medal, and you can earn all 3 medals. There'll be a bronze, silver, and gold medal. For the bronze challenge, I would like to see Portugal, Spain, and Italy revolutionary. Spread the revolution to those 3 states. The silver medal would involve dismantling the Holy Roman Empire. I want the Holy Roman Empire dismantled for the silver medal. For the gold medal, I would like you to do the ultimate thing. Complete the French mission tree, both the revolutionary and the normal mission tree, to be completed by 1821 at the end of the game. You have 100 years. Good luck. That's the challenger said. Let's talk a bit about logistics. When it comes to save file distribution, I was thinking of doing something like Dropbox or other things, but I think that's quite fiddly and can have issues. Also, it's a bit hard for me to just drop a file in a YouTube comment and call it a day. So with that, I've decided I'm just going to do it the easy way. I have a Discord. If you want to play the save, I uploaded the save in the announcement channel, spoiled as Viva La Revolution for France. That is the save. It will be spoilers. It will be linked. If you go to the announcements tab, it's the latest thing currently in the channel there. If you find this video later and it's not the latest thing, just scroll around. I don't post that many announcements. Anyway, I digress. You can find the save there. With that, another thing that I think is important to mention is this is an Iron Man save for me, so all of my achievements are enabled, but because I started this Iron Man save, unless your Steam account also happens to be called Lemon Cake, you won't be able to earn achievements yourself, because there are checks in place to prevent someone earning an achievement and just sending a save game file to someone else who load up the save game file and get the achievement. So this will be an achievement-free run, although this will still be an Iron Man save for the purpose of the bronze, silver, and gold medalism. Now, let's also address another elephant in the room. I'm currently playing this game with all DLCs because I'm a Paradox fanboy that buys all DLCs. If you are not in possession of all DLCs, you are going to, well, when I say struggle to run the save, I mean you're going to really struggle to run the save. It's going to break for you. You're going to need all DLCs to play this. And while I would like to say that I do not endorse piracy, a pirated version would still work with this. It's not multiplayer, there's no checks in place. This is just a save file, and if the save file finds the correct DLC files, it's going to work. For the more legitimate things, if you don't want to faff around with piracy or don't want to steal, that's both understandable. What I will suggest is, unironically, the subscription. If you don't have the DLC, spend a $5 on it, you now have all the DLC, and cancel the subscription immediately. You're back to being normal. That's going to be my TLDR in that regard. However, all DLC will be required to play this. That is just my warning to you. And if you don't have the DLCs enabled when you load into the save, things will break. Thank you for your understanding. But with that all said, that is all I have time for today. Thank you very much for watching, with a special thank you to my channel members, especially R, Solar, Salaman, W Haste, Sebastian Haller, Chernodog 2.0, and Nick Haas.